Mike and Brendan here, back for episode 3 of Backup Blueshirts. How you doing, Brendan?
What's going on, guys? We're back. Finally decided not to take a 5-month break in between each episode, so it's a good start for us. And we did the mic check again, so we're good to go.
Yes, we are. And, Brendan, there's something different about recording this week than last week. You want to know what it is?
Rangers finally have a road win.
In regulation.
Let's go, baby. Regulation road win finally. Me and Mike just gave a little fist bump to that.
And, of course, it's against one of the top teams in the West. Figures, right?
Figures, yeah.
I mean, we should have beat them first game of the season.
Yeah, we were just talking about that, how we gave them a good game, and then they missed high sticking call in front.
Yeah, there were a bunch of missed calls in that first game.
Ended up getting the face-off, and then, of course, they scored from the point. I think, more than half of their shots every game must come from the defenseman.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen a team
one of the best decors in the league. Yeah, we've been saying this for a couple of years now.
They literally utilize the defenseman so well on offense. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, when you have Yossi, Subban, Ekholm, Ellis, I mean, you're doing pretty good on that front. And Subban didn't even play in like the last minute or two of last night's game. He was pissed.
I wonder what that was about. I wonder if he got hit and he... why? Did anybody figure that out? Like, I thought that maybe he had gotten, like, his bell rung, and it was, like, concussion protocol or something that he wasn't out there.
But they showed him, on the TV last, he was pissed.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be, too. You're the highest paid defenseman, and you're not out there.
Granted, he got...
in the most important moment of the game.
Granted, he got wrecked by...
Cody McLeod.
Cody McSnipe.
Sorry. Cody McSnipe, sorry.
Cody McLeod earlier in the game. That was a pretty good hit. I don't think he saw that one coming. Granted, they were going at each other. Well, I think McLeod was near Rene or something like that, and he didn't like it. So he came over, and McLeod was like, listen, dude, I don't care about hockey. I just want to lay you out as soon as I can in this game. So, first of all, it was a pretty late hit. That was it was definitely a late hit.
Hey, you give one, you take one, right?
That's true.
But speaking of Cody McSnipe,
the
GOAT Mark Stahl scored his third of the season last night.
Why every time he scores, it's always a snipe, though.
I know.
That's the funny part.
That's what I've been saying.
That's actually the funny part about Stahl. He comes in, he just snipes. But more importantly from last night, dive into that Zibanejad, Fost, Kreider line. Unbelievable.
10 points between the three of them.
Unbelievable.
Kreider, 1 goal, 2 assists.
1 goal, 2 assists, yes.
Fost, 2 goals, 1 assist. Zibanejad, 4 assists.
Yeah, that was unbelievable.
3 of them were primary. Just putting that out there.
That was great production from them last night. I was like, well, they said Fost was only out 5 games. For some reason, it felt like it was so much longer than 5 games. Yeah, I know, right?
He was supposed to be out 2 to 4 weeks. 5 games later, hey, I'm back.
That was great. 2 goals.
And then, of course, he comes in, scores 2 goals.
Both pretty good chances, though, in front. I mean, they were both pretty much from the slot. Well, the second goal was almost from the point, but just a good slap shot.
Yep.
But we were talking great playing by Kreider. Finally playing up to his potential, I think, this season. He's got 20 goals now.
20 goals in the first 37 games. I think the last 10 years or something, or since 05, 06 or something, I saw this. Only Rangers to get 20 goals within the first 37. Gabrick, Nash, Yager, and Shanahan.
Nice.
I mean, Yager and Shanahan, that's some pretty good company right there.
Oh, what do you mean, Marin Gabrick? Not?
Well, I mean, when you fall off a cliff and then you win a cup with another team and you go off against us, you're kind of exiled a little bit. Just putting that out there.
The fact that Marin Gabrick even survived that collision that he had with Dominik Hasek years ago is a miracle in itself. But
okay. See, I didn't see it, so I didn't. Well, I gotta look it up.
Anybody listening, if you guys want to see just an absolutely insane play, check that out. Literally, Gabrick gets a breakaway. He goes, and Hasek comes out to play the puck, and Gabrick just goes flying over Hasek and literally does a front flip and lands on his back. But anyway, let's not get off topic.
I've seen that more than once. Just saying.
But we got I've been impressed with Kreider.
Oh, no, he's had a great season.
And it's
so
not
far.
like it, as Rangers fans, it's not really a surprise to us, considering that he's always shown the potential to score this many goals. I think
now
this year
he's just actually converting.
Yeah, this year he's actually burying his chances. Sometimes in front, he still he's still like, it's unbelievable to me that he doesn't score like when there's like a low slap shot and then the rebound comes out to him and he's like, sometimes he whacks at it like 4 times in a row. I'm like, how did he not score on
so
that?
me whenever we play roller hockey then.
But the only thing I'll say about him is that this year his deflections in front of the net.
Oh, the one he had last night was brilliant.
Yeah, that was like that was
brilliant.
a Crosby like deflection. He's very infamous for doing that same one from the side of the net and then tilting the puck.
He's
up.
one of the better guys in front between tip-ins and deflections, scoring goals in the whole league.
Definitely.
He arguably the best.
Definitely. But I think even last night we saw how effective he can be on the forecheck, which is what I like to see from him
because he can skate and
well,
he's a power
that's
forward.
The one
he
thing
can check the shit at anybody.
That's the one thing that I think I missed from having Fost in the lineup. He's not always going to give you those 2-goal games, but at least he's always going to give you the effort and he's always going to skate. That's why I think he works well with anybody really on any of those lines because he always just skates hard every play.
Yeah, exactly.
But Kreider's so just unbelievably strong. Like on the play, on the first goal that Fost has, he comes flying in on the forecheck, just manhandles the guy on Nashville, and then Zibanejad looks up, bam, Fost right in the slot, one-timer, beautiful.
Yeah, also, speaking of Kreider's strength, like sometimes I even think he doesn't know his own strength because I remember a game from like 2 years ago where he checked somebody. It was like a cross check pretty much, but he checks them, they go flying, and he's just like, really? I'm just like, okay, yeah, this guy's strong because that guy, I don't remember who it was, but like, didn't seem like he went down that easy. And Kreider was just like, okay, dude, I barely touched them, so I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah, and then obviously we'll touch on your boy Kevin Hayes keeping that that point streak alive.
He was terrible last night. I'm so pissed he got that second assist.
He was definitely more unnoticeable yesterday.
No, he was terrible. We had that power play. He made 3 bad plays on that power play alone. And, of course, I get a text from one of my friends who's, I don't know what bar he was at, but he texts me. He's just like, Hayes, you, whatever. It wasn't PG, let's just say that. And I was just like, laughed at it, and I was like, yeah, I just said something too, don't worry.
But I was glad to see him get the assist just because I knew it was gonna piss you off. So when I saw the play, I was like, "Yeah, baby, Kevin Hayes 9-game."
I didn't even realize it until they announced it in like the third period.
Yeah,
I'm like,
he got
okay,
the secondary.
Hayes
assist.
doesn't have a point, and then they
Nope.
recall earlier in the game.
Nope.
Hayes extends his streak to 9. I'm like, when?
Yeah, that was on the first goal, on the Kreider goal, the deflection.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh, you got to be kidding me.
Yep, he was the one that he had the initial. He got the pass from the point, and then he just passed it right down. But minus the Nashville game, we'll go back because we had.
So there's been 3 other games.
So
Saturday, December 22nd, against the Maple Leafs. Yeah. Sunday, December 23rd, against the Flyers. And then we played the Blue Jackets on Thursday, December 27th. And what was the common theme between all of those games?
Well,
a loss.
Yeah. Yeah.
You thought I was going to say something else, didn't you?
Yeah, and in the Toronto game, we actually lose in overtime for once, or shootout. So that was I don't want to say a nice touch, but it was definitely something different. But
wait, fun fact: 6 of our last 9 games have gone extra time.
Yeah, and then again, same thing though. The Rangers have gotten, even though we've been losing the games, they have been getting the points as well. Though
they've been in it.
I didn't see the stat,
like,
but the Rangers have
score-wise.
gotten points in something out of the last like 10 or 12 games or something like that. I don't know if it was 10 or 12 games or something that they got points in. I could be wrong on that, but I think I remember seeing a stat at the end of the last night's game. I didn't get a chance to write it down, but that's kind of a frustrating thing. It's frustrating in that, okay, we're hanging in there still, but it's frustrating when we have the lead,
and
especially
then they blow it.
Granted, there's some games that they
force
force to overtime that they really shouldn't even be in overtime, like we were talking about that last podcast with Vegas, for example, the Vegas game. But you know what? I thought that, granted, I think realistically we knew going into that game, like the Toronto game, that we were going to probably lose that one because we know how their offense is.
Yeah, no, if you compare
but I was actually, I got to admit,
our offense, I mean, they're light years ahead right now.
But I'll admit, though, I was impressed with our performance, even though we lost, 5-3?
5-3.
And, yeah, I mean, whatever, the fifth
4-3 empty net.
But still,
You know what? I'm gonna refer to empty nets now as not 5-3 win. It was a 4-3 win with an empty net.
Yeah, don't even count that as a goal exactly. But I mean, granted,
And that was Marner's hat trick.
yeah,
goals.
Marner's hat trick. Yeah, of course. But he
Figures.
played unbelievable. But one thing I'll tell you, I was surprised. I was surprised that the Rangers. We started out the game really well. Like the first 5 minutes or so,
Wait, no, we had a
the
good
Rangers
couple
looked like they were
back-to-back
going
shifts.
to play pretty well, and then
Everything
Toronto
went
was
back
like,
to
wait
normal.
wait a second here. We're just going to dominate the rest of the period. I mean, there was a couple plays at the end of the first where they were just controlling the puck in the zone, and it was just the Rangers literally had no answer. But I don't know. I mean, considering the game though, I was actually impressed with our performance. I thought we really hung in there, and then the Marner goal happened.
Yeah, and then your boy Kevin Hayes makes a stupid pass to Pionk that he had
Yeah.
the entire corner to work with to skate, and then he makes a bad pass that leads to Marner's goal.
We'll talk about more with Hayes. I think in the
As you
And the
as you
Columbus-
people can tell, I don't like Kevin Hayes that much.
we'll get more into Hayes and a debate that we were having in a second, and we'll get to him more in the Columbus and Philly games when we talk about them. But
All right, so let's move on to Philly. 3-2 shootout loss. I missed this game, so I'm gonna let you go ahead right now.
I'm just
Gonna
shaking
let you
my
take
head
this
because
one?
that was just, my God, it was another game. I don't know. I thought we could have had this one. I mean, the Flyers, I don't know where they're at in the standings right now, but
I'm pretty sure they're below us.
I mean,
They are below us. Yes, we have them by 4 points.
well, we were joking around last podcast, and we were saying that if Hart started the game, that we no
would've been
doubt
a
we were going to
shutout.
lose by a shutout. But granted, he didn't start. I forget who actually ended up getting the start. But
Honestly, there's been so many moving goaltenders this season. I don't even remember who's on who anymore. Hutchinson is on Florida now, I think. Or wait, no, Florida? Or no, wait, no. Or did he just leave Florida? Oh, how do I forget this?
I'm like trying to backtrack on the Philly game because like I watched the whole game, but I felt like we just like I can't remember much about it.
Oh,
other
Neuwirth started against
other
us,
than the
and he
fact-
got the first star. Okay.
other than the fact that it went to a shootout and we ended up losing the shootout, and of course, and I was dying because I was like thinking in my head, I'm like, oh man, like we're in the shootout, and then I think it was like 4 or 5 rounds. And then Nolan Patrick comes up, and I'm just thinking in my head, I'm like, I'm watching the game with my brothers and my dad. And I'm like, oh, God, he's going to snipe one. And the only reason I knew that is because we were talking about Philly last podcast, and I brought up Nolan Patrick, that they had him in the lineup or whatever, and they drafted him so early in the draft. And he's like, and Shays was like, oh, yeah, but he really hasn't been playing up to potential, which, granted, was true. But, of course, the little smack talk, maybe he heard the podcast. I don't know. Who knows?
Knowing our luck, he did.
And he was like, you know what? I'm going to come in and I'm going to just snipe. And I was like, wow. I kind of saw it coming just because
because
it
I
was just
said something.
hilarious. But oh, man. Yeah. But we ended up losing that one. And then Hayes dangles the goalie. And then
Doesn't
I don't
get a
know if he
shot off.
lost the stick handle or he just went to shoot it and he just
either
missed
lost
the net.
it or rolled off his stick. But
Or
still.
I think he was just like, damn, man, I really just deeked the shit out of him right now. He almost like lost control of himself and he just like didn't even know what to do. It would have been funny if he would have like stopped and then just took a slap shot top shelf, but missed
From
the
2
net.
feet.
But missed the net. That kind of would have been better. I would have rather
pull an old Mark Stahl?
I would have rather have seen him do that than miss on the backhand. But it was almost like
so you wanted him to pull a pre-goat Mark Stahl.
it was like one of those plays where like he had it and it was like I don't know what he was doing. Like he just finished it off so lazy, and
I mean, lazy Hayes.
I honestly like I can't even give like a better like in-depth description of that Flyers game because I honestly like I just don't even remember it that much. Like
And I didn't
I didn't
see
take
it to begin with.
I didn't take notes on it, so I try to take notes when I watch the games, but I just didn't take any notes on the Flyers one. And then the Columbus game I actually really didn't see, so I'll let you guide us through that one because I really didn't see much of it. Minus like I saw a little bit of the third period and then I saw the overtime, which will lead us. The overtime is going to lead us into a little debate about Hayes, so we'll get into that. But
A little?
well,
Okay.
well,
So-
debate.
I'm just going to skip to the end result real quick of the Columbus game. It was a 4-3 overtime loss.
But
this is another game we probably could have won.
We should have won that. We had the lead. I mean, we had a
we took
3-2 lead.
Strome
and then we
scored a goal at 3-2 to make it 4-2.
Called it back for offsides.
Gets reviewed, offsides, no goal, takes all the energy out of us. Next thing you know, Columbus ties it. And then interesting fact about the overtime goal. Panarin wasn't initially on the ice at the start of overtime. Dubinsky was to take the face-off. He won the face-off, went straight to the bench for Panarin. Panarin, primary assist on Dubois' goal.
I did not know that. That's interesting.
I read an article about an hour before we started recording.
The face-off win, but Panarin's not a center anyway, right?
No,
but that's interesting.
I didn't even realize that watching the game. That was a little bit of a fun fact. So Tortorella still knows what he's doing.
I don't know what the Rangers' record is right now in the 3-on-3 overtime. Do you?
Oh, it's got to be terrible.
But the one thing we were talking about, and it's like I just don't understand why the Rangers don't utilize that speed more in 3-on-3. I just don't get it. Like, I mean, I get it. They want it. Skate. I get it that they want to have Hayes out there to try to make a play, but we just face it. I mean, he's just not like unless he makes the play, which he has done before in the past. But the thing is that if he doesn't get out there and make that play instantly for them, he's just not quick enough to get back on defense.
No,
and we saw it in the Vegas game. We were saying, he was trying to make a play happen, skating around, and we know he can be strong on the puck in the offensive zone. And on the Vegas game, he tired himself out, and then puck to D'Angelo, puck to Zuccarello, and then Zuccarello tried to pass it to him, and he missed the pass because he was tied up in front, and then they came back and scored. So I just don't like it's frustrating, especially as him as a center. He's gonna need the back check. He's just not quick enough, I think, for 3-on-3. Like, I get why they want to put him out there, but I'd rather see them just have other guys out there, especially now since he's been on the ice now for 2 games recently that we lost in the 3-on-3 overtime, and it's mostly because of just a poor back-checking effort.
Well, I mean, when Dubois scored to win in the Columbus game, Hayes was caught flat-footed. Yeah. Dubois just goes right around him, and Hayes, honestly, at that point, just
take a penalty. Yeah.
Take a penalty, trip him, go for a penalty shot. I don't care, but make a play. I mean, literally swung his stick and did nothing. That's what really angered me after the game.
Yeah, that wasn't his best effort, obviously, on that play. But I just don't get, I feel like we should, now that we have Fost back, I would like to see somebody like him in 3-on-3 overtime, or even, I'm sure Kreider gets his time out there in 3-on-3, but even using our faster defensemen,
D'Angelo,
Pionk, Mark Stahl should not be on the ice for a 3-on-3.
No offense to the goat.
Yeah, it's just... he's just simply just not quick enough to be out there.
He's not that great of a skater.
They have to use those guys that are quicker.
Honestly wouldn't use Shattenkirk either.
I wouldn't use him either. But even
Smith
forwards,
in special circumstances.
Surprisingly, and I was telling my brother about this yesterday. It's
I would put Smith on ice in the overtime, depending on who's playing, who's on the ice for the other team.
It's VZ's another guy. He actually has the legs. It's just sometimes some games he's just not skating, and then other games he'll out of nowhere he starts flying. It's weird with him. I feel like some games he's just almost lazy, but he can skate when he wants to skate.
No, he has the speed.
He definitely has the speed.
That was a major reason why he won the Hobie Baker Award as the top college player in his draft year. And then...
Yeah.
Or actually, was it his draft year? I don't remember, but it was the last year he played college right before the Rangers signed him.
One thing that we can definitely see continuing with the Rangers defense is sometimes the defense in front of the net is definitely...
Case in point on, what was it, Fiala's goal last night, where Lundqvist made a giant, a big save right before?
Oh, yeah. You were talking about the one where you, slid across. That was the third goal.
Yeah.
He slides across, makes the play,
that was a great save.
Empty rebound in front, and we have 2 defensemen in front.
It's
and everybody's
1-on-3, and the one gets it and scores.
Yeah. And same thing with the Benino goal. Well, not Benino's goal, but the one where Benino was in front. I don't know if he ended up getting... That was
the first goal, right?
Yeah, I don't know if he ended up getting a piece of it. And
that was
either
his
goal,
Ellis or Ekholm.
But maybe it was... I think it was Ellis's goal at the time. I don't know if he ended up getting it. But anyway, point being, he's standing right in front of him.
No, it was Benino did get the tip in, I think. Yeah.
He's literally standing right in front of Lundqvist. Like, you got to get him out of the front of the net, man. And it was the same thing in the Flyers game, because I know Wayne Simmons scored a goal. It was, it was a cheesy goal. I think it was a filthy. Then it's starting to come back to me as I talk about the game. But pass from the corner, and Couturier had a filthy deflection from the slot, and the puck, he tipped it and hit off the crossbar. And now Lundqvist is just like spinning around because he has no idea where the puck is. And then, of course, Wayne Simmons is just standing right in front of the net.
Yeah, I know.
And I think, and that was a matchup that I was actually looking at, because that was, granted, that's Simmons' game. He's great in front of the net.
Yeah.
He's a hard guy to get out in front of the net, but he dominated McQuaid that game in front of the net.
And it was like McQuaid actually had last night a sneaky good game.
Yeah. And
he made a lot of little blocks and everything.
Considering,
also he broke up a 2-on-1. Like he dove, which was pretty nice.
He made up for that play because
he had a sneaky good game last night.
He got burned on that play, and he dove. That was a good play. He made up for it because he got caught flat-footed, and you could tell the guy in Nashville was flying.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh man, this isn't good. But then he dove, and even Mark Stahl, like, he had in a game, he scored a big goal for us. So I'm not that upset about his.
The GOAT, Mark Stahl. Don't disrespect him.
He was part of that play in front, though, with that rebound that he could have easily had stopped that play.
Yeah.
I think
he was facing the other way.
This goes back to, granted, that's Nashville's game, though, those slap shots from the point and shots from the point crowding the net, but that's just an example of the Rangers definitely need to play better D in front of the net for sure.
Yeah, here's the thing, like, Nashville was getting a lot of chances, but I mean, like, the Rangers were outshot 37-22, but half those Predator shots were easy saves. Yeah. So it's not like most of them were high danger.
34 saves, right, on 37 shots last night.
Yes, sir.
That was another, like, sneaky. Like, I don't even remember Nashville really having 37 shots, but they just put so many pucks on net.
No, it's because they'd get a lot of flurries.
And you know what it is, too? They're having trouble. They're having trouble scoring as well. I mean, they're on a 6-game losing streak now.
As of last night, yes.
Five going into the game. And even the other night, they put 49 shots up on Dallas, and they didn't score a goal. Granted, that was Khudobin's, that was the most saves, I think, that they ever had in franchise history for shutout, or just in general. There
was a couple guys that they had out last night. Like, Forsberg's out for a while. I think Sissons is also out, and they had another guy out.
Yeah, and then Arvidsson and Subban were that was the second game back for them off of a 20-game injury. So we definitely caught them while they were down.
We caught them at a good time.
We caught them at a good time, for sure. For sure.
No, we did, but the point is approaching in the season where Steve Valiquette was saying this on, like, the pregame or postgame show. It was probably the pregame show, where he said, like, somewhere around January 19th or something, or I forgot the exact date, but, like, depending on how the team plays going into that particular date is where the team's going to go at the deadline.
Oh, what do you think? What do you mean by that? Like, are they going to trade X certain players and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's like if they're winning, doing good, and actually playing well, they'll keep guys and try and do something in the playoffs. But if they keep losing and playing bad and inconsistent and all of that, some guys are probably going to go.
Yeah.
Which I completely agree with.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting to see, like, because you're looking at a Rangers team, obviously, that has a new coach this season. And it's interesting to see how certain players are playing, like, way more effective in his game.
Kreider is one of them. Hayes is one of them. Zibanejad's been sneaky all season.
Yeah, Zibanejad,
sneakily good.
He's been really good.
VC's been playing better. He's on pace for, like, 21 or 2 or something along those lines.
It's interesting. Like, it's epic. Part of me really wants those guys to stay around because I want to see.
I wouldn't trade VC yet because he's still a young RFA.
Yeah, but
plus it's only his third
My
season.
point was I just want to see how these guys play for more than one season under Quinn because it seems like now they're starting to wake up. I mean, like we were talking with Kreider, it's like
our defensive core is still a wreck, but that's a different story.
Granted, but I'm saying in terms of offensive production from these guys, it's interesting. We knew Kreider always had the potential. I mean, he scored how many goals was it last year? Did he have 30? Or just miss 30? 28? Or did he have 30? I can't remember. But
I think it was 20. No. Last year he got injured, remember? He didn't have many.
Oh, so maybe I'm thinking of... maybe it was the season before.
He had like 27 and Grabner had 28.
That's what I was... Yeah, okay. I mean, he always has the potential. And it's like the opportunities he has, he can easily score 40. Especially this year. Yeah. He's on pace for 43. So... Yeah. I mean, I want to see...
And 6 goals in the last 6 games, 4-game goal streak.
More than one season from these guys under Quinn. That was my point. I mean, listen, if we...
No, I agree.
And I was talking with my coworker, and we were talking about Hayes and getting into the trade Hayes, this and that. And it's like, you know what? I think that... And this is actually an interesting point that one of my coworkers brought up when we were talking about. And I was like, you know what? I never thought about this, but like, if the Rangers could trade Hayes to a team at the deadline and like tell them, listen, you know what? We can come to an agreement next year as when you're an agent, like, free agent or whatever, and we could sign you back. Now, I wonder if they would do that. Trade him to a team for the playoffs, try to get something in return for him, and then re-sign him back.
Yeah, but how often do you see that happen nowadays in the league? That's the only thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm saying if it comes down to that. I mean, that wouldn't be a bad...
Honestly, I could see that happening with Zook possibly.
Yeah.
But then again, his trade value isn't where it should be right now. It's low.
Granted, you know what though? I mean, he's gone through his injuries. And I feel like I see that right now. Like
he's been going through a lot of groin injuries, and that's a recurring issue.
I mean, it's not like his speed has been his issue though. Like his skating is still fine. He just seems like
decision making.
Yeah, I think, that's just something I feel like he's lost maybe because he missed so many games now. Maybe he's got to get that chemistry back. I mean, he's always been the type of guy that's been, at least in my eyes, he's been like, he'll go on a rampage for like 10 games and then he'll slow down for many games. But, I meant that
half the Rangers
I meant
roster.
that in terms of points. He's always making plays. But sometimes those plays don't always translate to points. And then, people will be like, oh, you know what, but he's not putting up the points. But you know what, though? If he's making plays happen or making good defensive plays,
that's really what coaches matter.
I mean, that was the thing. That was really the thing with Rick Nash towards the end of his career. I mean, he wasn't always putting up those points, but you know what?
He would always get great chances.
He was unbelievable he started to be unbelievable on the defensive end.
Oh yeah, no,
he was
our best
great on the
forward.
Penalty kill for sure. But the point was that he wasn't putting up those goals that we needed him to put up. But it's interesting to see. I think that happens with Zuccarello a lot of the times. He's not putting up the points right now, but he's still in there making the plays. Granted, it's just
the last couple games especially, he's been playing a lot better.
I think he just needs to shoot. I mean, that's always kind of been he overpasses sometimes.
Yeah.
He needs to shoot more. I think there was a play last night, too, where he had a chance in the slot and he tried to pass it. It's just like, man, shoot. And what's funny is like when he shoots, he has a great shot.
Yeah, he had 27 goals like 3 years ago.
He has the potential to score. He's very pass first.
Yeah, no, he's a little too pass first.
I mean, when he has a great guy in his line that can bury, it's definitely great to see him pass and make great plays. But, I mean, he needs to shoot more now, I think, anyway.
See, I remember Zook in 2013-14 when we had Brassard, Pouliot, and him. It was our best line because Pouliot, shoot first player, Brassard, little bit of both,
mix, yeah.
Zuccarello, pass first player. That line just meshed so well. And I feel like he hasn't been able to develop that same chemistry since that line with other players.
Definitely.
Since that year.
And that's a good point you were bringing up with Hayes.
I think that's another reason why his play has slipped a little bit.
Definitely with Hayes as well. He is another guy that sometimes he holds the puck. He holds the puck for too long. I think it's like his style. He wants to try to hold on to the puck and make plays. Sometimes he holds on to it too long, and that's what leads to a lot of his turnovers. Definitely.
Another just horrible game last night. But
the game
before against Columbus, when he made that pass to VC, I was ready to yell at him because I thought Werenski made the defensive play. But
he really was patient on that play, man. He held out to that till like the last second to pass that. But he's over. He is very over passive sometimes, I think. But he's putting up the points right now on the bright side of things. So even if it means he's not always scoring, at least Weiss's offensive production is still there for the team. I mean, his defensive game he can work on a little bit, back checking, for example. But
yeah, he's not the greatest skater.
no, he's not.
But here's the thing with Hayes.
Point.
Our power play with him lately, when he's on the ice, it's been terrible. Case in point last night, where he just made one power play. He made 2 or 3 really bad plays. I was just looking at my TV saying, Hayes, are you kidding me?
Yeah, he gets very vintage Rangers power play on us in the fact that he just
old school
forces too many passes to players, or he gets caught up holding on to the puck too long, and then he just gets trapped.
I forgot.
That happens to him a lot along the boards. I noticed that.
I forgot which game it was, but it was not within the past week. It might have been against the Blue Jackets a few weeks ago, where Hayes, he's on a 2-on-1 with, I think it was VC, and Hayes is coming down the left side. VC's a left-handed shot coming down the right side. He couldn't make up his mind, and he didn't pass it. And by the time he made up his mind to shoot, he had there was no chance of a shot going in.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say with VZ though is that if the 2-on-1s with him, if he's on a 2-on-1, I like that he's very shoot first. I think on the 2-on-1s from what I've seen from him.
Yeah. Speaking of 2-on-1s on the defensive side, like when they're coming against us, I forgot who it was last night who broke. I think McQuaid broke up one. And there was another one where I was like, take the shooter, and then he shoots it and scores, and I'm just like, come on, I would like to see players take the shooter more on a 2-on-1 than the passer, because I think the goalie is, if you take the shooter on the 2-on-1, the goalie's going to expect the pass, so that they'll be more prepared. If it's a 2-on-1 and you can easily sauce a pass over somebody's stick if they're diving.
Usually it's, 2-on-1s generally, the defensive mindset of those is usually take the pass away, because then the goalie can cut off the angle more.
Well, you see how well that worked last night.
Yeah, but it depends. It depends on, who's coming down. Like if it's a 2-on-1 and it's Ovechkin, you almost know he's going to shoot, but at the same time, you can't just give him the pass. But if he gets to the slot, good luck.
The Capitals are sneaky like that, because if it's Kuznetsov and Ovechkin on a 2-on-1,
the goal
there's about a 95% chance that puck is going in, because both of them can shoot.
The best way to stop 2-on-1s, just don't give them up in the first place.
Yeah, don't get caught up ice. Don't pinch at the wrong time.
That would be the best way to stop
No
them.
stupid turnover.
But Shea actually had a decent defensive. He made a great play in front last night. They passed to the guy in front, and he just completely tied him up. I think they may have been 2-on-1.
Not Hayes. Oh, God.
Not Hayes. In your head so much.
No, Shea has been playing a lot better lately since the start of the season, so he's picked up his game a little bit. Personally, I would still love him on the second pair, but Rangers have no other choice but to play him on the first pair.
Let's talk about a story that we saw before we actually just start up the podcast, and that's tomorrow's game. And just a couple of things that
St. Louis.
Weird moves that we were kind of just like, what?
Hedl was rotating with VC on the fourth line today, and Nieves was playing with Howden and who?
Buchnevich.
Howden and Buchnevich.
But I think I saw that Hedl scratched for tomorrow. So I'm a little bit confused. I
know.
I don't really get that. Unless he just wants them to rest, but I don't know.
I don't know about that one. No, Quinn has made some questionable lineup decisions.
It's like AV right there, that move. But
not gonna lie, that is a little AV like.
And then Shattenkirk comes back tomorrow. I don't really know if I'm excited for that or.
Honestly, I'm not. Really.
Well, now who Clayson is getting sent down? I'm guessing.
No, nobody's getting sent down.
Okay, so then,
not on defense.
So I really don't know with Shattenkirk. It's just I'm not even when he's out there, he's kind of just like He's kind of just like blah.
Yeah, I mean,
is what they brought him in for. That I think they wanted that offensive
point production on the power play,
exactly.
Basically, and he just hasn't been doing any of that.
He most of the time when he has that puck at the point, he just shoots it right into the defenseman.
Yeah, it gets blocked.
So he needs to either be quicker. That's the thing with him. It's like I can't tell if he's just his play as he's getting older is just declining, or he's just been so injured now that now I just can't tell what's is he just not good, or is he just injured? That's the thing. That's 2 years in a row now he's got an injury. I mean, he missed majority of last season.
Yeah.
And he was pretty good for us.
He missed the entire 2018.
Pretty
like
much.
part of 2017-18.
But now it's again with the injuries. It's like, if he keeps getting injured, signing him was just a waste, really, if he keeps getting injured.
I thought his contract was a waste to begin with. I didn't want him signed.
How much is he signed for again?
5.
How many years again?
Only 4, so 2 after this, but still. I was just like, yeah, that's 4
lesson.
too much. They didn't watch the playoffs with Washington in 2017.
That was probably one of his worst performances.
Awful.
Terrible.
He was awful.
Yeah.
And that literally deterred me from wanting him on the Rangers.
That's the one thing. They make these crazy signings with the defensemen. Like they always want to sign them for like $6 million for like 5 years. Some of them aren't established.
When the Doughty extension got signed, like $11 million. I'm just like, yeah, you're gonna regret that in a matter of months. And that extension hasn't even kicked in yet, and he's already playing like crap this season.
Yeah. I mean, the bright side, Rangers got Miller right now playing. That's one thing we want to talk about. We really haven't
World Juniors.
We haven't seen so much of the World Juniors. I've caught mostly highlights.
I haven't been able to keep up with it as much as I wanted.
I mean, I know right now the U.S. they lost last night to Sweden. They were down 4-0, and they lost 4-3. They were down. The USA was down 4-0, lost 5-4. Oh, 5-4. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, 4-0. Sorry about that. Yeah. And it's funny because I had that game on last night, and I saw Sweden score the 4th goal right at the beginning of the 3rd, and I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to shut this off. Honestly, I thought it was going to be a blowout. That's what I get for shutting it off, losing faith. But yeah, they won the first game 2-1. They just snuck that win out. Who was that against? Is that Slovakia, or they're playing somebody? I don't think it was Czech Republic.
I don't remember, to be honest.
And
with
then they
it wasn't
won their
Denmark. That's
then they won their second game, against Kazakhstan, and they won that like 8-2. I think that was the final, and then they had that back-to-back. So
all I know is the kid on Sweden who scored the game winner last night was Chicago's first pick this
well,
draft.
that's the most important. I mean, it's great. It's also really good to watch the juniors because you're going to see most of these decent amount of the players are going to be the future stars in the NHL.
Half the players are already drafted.
So it's good to see. It's actually good hockey to watch if you don't watch it. But another just notable games from them. Canada 14-0
against what was that, Denmark?
Yeah, it was Denmark 14-0. That's bad. And then unfortunately for Denmark, they had to play Russia the next day, and they actually only lost 4-0 to that game. And I think they actually got shut out again last night, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know if they scored any goals in the tournament so far. But
all I know is Kravtsov had a goal and assist one game. So that's our Rangers right there. Yeah. Rangers pick, doing something productive.
The U.S. has a couple of guys, too. They got
Keandre Miller.
They
don't have Keane, actually.
Oh, he's not playing?
No, he was among the final cuts.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Yeah, it is.
But Islanders have Wallstrom playing. Scored a filthy goal the other night.
Yeah, I know that. I didn't see the goal, though.
Yeah, it was great. Right off the face-off, he just took a quick shot top shelf.
Nice. Jack Hughes is also been out for USA the past 2 games, so that could have a little bit of an effect on why they went down 4-0 the other night, but time will tell. That Nico Gross kid, I told you off the podcast he played on Canada. I couldn't have been any more wrong about that. He plays on Switzerland. He had an assist the other night. So I'm just like, yeah, I was way off on that one. Was way off.
Well, I mean, listen, Wallstrom sounds like he should be on the Swedish team, but apparently he's on the U.S. team, so.
Well, I mean, his first name is Oliver.
That's true. I guess that's kind of Oliver Twist.
Oliver Twist.
But, yeah, we want to, minus the Rangers, we want to dive a little bit more into rest of the NHL.
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure Gaudreau and Johnny Gaudreau and Patrick Kane had a hat trick within the past week. Both of them.
Johnny Gaudreau has 4 hat tricks already this season.
That I did not know.
Yeah.
Dude,
I heard that the other
playing
day.
some good hockey.
They
really have.
Yeah, that's just they said, oh, he scores his 4th hat trick, and I'm like thinking 4th hat trick of his career. Wow, I'm surprised. They're like 4th hat trick this season. I was like, wow. And then the funny thing is I think Kane, He has 4 hat tricks. I think that's in his career. That was like his 4th or 5th. And I was a little bit caught off guard by that. I was like, wow, Johnny Hockey's on a tear.
You know, dude, Calgary's been playing some pretty good hockey this season. Like that trade with Carolina in the offseason actually benefited them a lot more than I thought it was going to.
Yeah, Calgary's got a pretty good team, man. They got some good forwards. Gaudreau, Kachuk. Monahan's filthy.
And Kachuk is actually playing really well this season.
Yeah, they're definitely a team to look out for in the West for sure. I think they're leading their division, right? They should be.
Yeah, they're in front of the Pacific. And that division is still a joke, just putting it out there.
Yeah.
San Jose, like they
haven't quite.
They're finally starting. They look like they're starting to put it together.
Well, we were touching on them because Carlson got 2-game suspension for an elbow. That's kind of a dirty play.
Yeah.
Not really like Carlson, but I don't know. I don't know. Do you think he meant to elbow him or he just came up too high on him?
I don't know. From the replay I saw, it looked like he hit the shoulder first. But still, you got to do all you can to avoid a headshot.
Yeah.
And it didn't look like he tried to avoid it at all. So, I mean, that 2-game suspension, it's warranted.
Yeah. I mean, that was really his first dirty play he's ever really had as a player. So,
yeah,
2 games is fine. I'm all right with that suspension.
All right. Since we're still on the Pacific, Vegas in third, hanging in tight.
Vegas is always... They're having a very sneaky season this year. They started off terrible. And we were saying the last time they had injuries. I mean, Paul Stastny literally didn't score his first goal until the Ranger game. And then Pacioretty was out. So now I think they're getting it together. And I think actually, if I'm not mistaken, last night's win may have been one of the first games of the season that a goaltender besides Fleury got a win. Because I know Subban was playing. I could be wrong on that stat, but I know that up until about a week ago, pretty much, that Fleury was literally the only goaltender to have a win on Vegas. I know he's close to leading the league in wins as a goalie, literally because he's played just about every game they've won. So,
okay, since we're in the West right now, did you hear about the tirade about Ben and Sagan?
Oh yeah, that was.
I read that article. I was just like, wow.
What was that about? Now I'm curious. Now, was that after the Nashville game? Because, I mean, from the stats point of view, it sounded like they got dominated by Nashville. Granted, they won 2-0. It must have been
after the Nashville game.
So it must have been a complete domination. I mean, what is their...
Dallas won that game 2-0.
Yeah, but I'm saying they gave up 49 shots on goal.
Yeah, true.
I mean, they probably shouldn't have won that game. And the goals they scored on Rene were kind of not the best goals. I mean, they were ones he probably could have had back, at least one of them.
I'll come back to that Rene thing in 1 second.
But now the question is,
this article was from yesterday. It basically along the lines of, and I quote, fucking horseshit from a top executive in the Dallas organization
have they just
about both of those.
Like I said,
apparently they just haven't been playing well.
All season or just the last recent games?
From what the article said, this has been brewing for months.
I mean, we were just saying we feel like we probably know a little bit more about the East than the West.
Oh no, we definitely do.
I don't know why that is. I mean, I guess because we just.
Well, I mean,
East is in obviously our conference, and so.
And there's not really Western hockey games on
unless you're going to stream
on the East
them.
Coast. Yeah.
But,
which I should be doing more of.
But yeah, I mean, from what I know about them, usually it's from highlights or whatever I see on NHL Network.
Same.
But I mean,
and Twitter actually helps a lot with knowing stats and stuff.
I saw a funny tweet. Speaking of Twitter, it was
we have Twitter, by the way. We'll get into that.
Just says, we always mean to tell you guys that we have Twitter at the end, but we never remember.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to do it now just in case I forget at the end. Follow us on Twitter at BackupBluePod. That is BackupBluePod on Twitter. I had a good tweet last night, so it was about me wanting a brawl in last night's game. So.
But I saw a funny tweet. It was just when I thought the upper management in Ottawa was going to take the case for worst management as a team, Stars cash in their money in the bank just at the end of the year.
WWE.
I was dying.
JR just, oh my God.
That's brutal.
What the hell?
I mean, can you really okay, they may have not been playing good this season, but can you even throw them under the bus? I mean, they've been pretty filthy the last couple of years.
Yeah, but the thing is,
do you think it was just them trying
over
to,
the course of
them?
the last couple seasons, both of them were top 6 in scoring.
I know, offensive
throughout the course of the league.
Down.
And this season, they were some ridiculous number, 50th and 60th or something like that. So, again, it was brewing for months, but still, that's not something you want to say in the public. But, hey, if they turn it around, that worked.
That's true.
In hindsight. But if it didn't, then you got major problems.
It's funny because, speaking of Ottawa, they've been actually a lot better than I thought they were going to be this year. Surprisingly.
And they're actually, I just checked the standings, they're last in the East right now.
Are they really?
I swear to God.
That's funny. They were playing decent, though. I mean,
they fell below Philly and New Jersey. That's pretty embarrassing.
Philly's been playing.
They fell off hard.
Decent, though, recently, actually. They've actually won a decent amount of it.
Between the Rangers and the Senators, that is 7 teams separated by 5 points at the bottom of the East.
Yeah. Jumping into the East, we'll talk about John Tavares plays the Islanders for the first time.
And then the Leafs just get shut out 4-0, and Barzal has a natty hattie.
Oh, he had a hat trick? I didn't even know that.
I'm pretty sure it was a natty hattie.
Wow. And that just goes to show you, you know what? I'm the future of this goddamn team, Tavares. We don't need you anymore.
Hey, dude, all I'm going to say is this. Tavares was on the Islanders for 9 years. They made the playoffs 3 times, so he had every right, especially as a number 1 overall pick in, 2009? He had every right to leave that team, especially with where they were going.
Definitely.
Where the organization was at the time right before last year's draft.
I mean, Islanders fans are obviously going to be upset because they just didn't, at the end, they didn't get anything for Tavares. Said he wanted to stay. Everybody knows the story. But
yep, pretty much.
I was impressed. A 4-0 win. I'm not going to lie. I wish the Rangers could have did that against them.
Yeah, seriously.
But we were talking about them last time. They're actually getting pretty good goaltending. I mean, the scoring, even without Tavares, I mean, they're still going to have their scoring. They're still going to have...
They have
Barzal's actually been lighting it up the last couple games, but, I mean, prior to that, he only has about 6 goals.
His scoring has been down, though.
Yeah, I mean, he only had 6 goals going into the last 2 games, Yeah,
and last season, he finished with 30-something, I feel like?
No, he had
20-something.
Yeah, 22 and 66, I think.
Which is, wow.
Yeah, he had a filthy year. But, I mean, his assists are still up there. He still has 20-something assists.
No, Islanders have some decent guys.
His production has been going down a little bit, but realistically, come on.
That's in part because of Trotz's system.
True. He's been playing.
Trotz is more of a defensive system.
Yeah, I was going to say he's been playing a little bit more into that.
And Doug Wade, there was no system.
Yeah, the guy never even coached an NHL team before.
No,
so,
God.
I mean,
not even as an assistant or anything.
Nope. From what I heard from a coworker of mine that's an Islanders fan, he said that he never at one stage of his life has never coached a hockey team. I don't even think pee-wee hockey, from what I've understood.
Wow.
But I could be wrong on that. But
that explains a lot. That really does explain a lot.
One game that I want to touch upon, because apparently it's always just a blowout game between these two teams for some odd reason. Philly and Tampa. I don't know what it is about them. Even Stamkos said in the post-game interview, he's like, for some reason, it's just always a blowout game with us against Philly. Unbelievable. 6-5 overtime. What a just an insane... It was just there was almost just no defense in that game. It was just scoring. And, of course, Tampa comes out on top 6-5.
It figures, right?
But I wanted to bring up an insane stat that I saw with Tampa Bay. That I don't know if you saw this one, but Tampa's 20-2 against the East this year.
Yeah, no, I can believe
20-2 against the East.
I can believe it.
Insane. But even getting into them, I mean, they're obviously their top lines are giving them an insane amount of production. Kucherov already has over 50 points.
Oh no, he's
having
he's been sneakily the best point producer in the league the last couple weeks. Especially, very sneakily.
Oh, what did you say? He had how many points in that 12-game span, right? You texted
26.
Insane.
And I literally texted in the group chat, Kucherov just quietly put up 26 points in 12 games. And, of course, our boy is just Oh yeah, well Hayes put up like 8 and 15. I'm just like, Hayes isn't Kucherov. Shut
9
up.
and 16 now.
Hayes isn't Kucherov.
Yeah, I mean, well, nobody's really Kucherov. He's just ridiculous. But this is the first year with Tampa. I mean, we always
Just putting it out there.
we always-
Kucherov was a 2nd-round pick.
we always end up coming around to Tampa when you talk about the East.
Well, I
we
mean,
wanted to
they're the best team.
Because we wanted to talk about some teams that I don't want to say like surprised with, but just top teams we thought coming out of the West and the East. Obviously, the number one team for us out of the East has to be Tampa Bay. And this is the first
There's
year with
no
them.
doubt about that.
Finally, I mean, like, I'm not, granted, they beat us in the Eastern Conference Finals, so I'm still upset about that, obviously, but
Yeah,
this is finally the first year for them now. Knock on wood for them that Stamkos doesn't go down with injury because, I mean, now he's tearing it up. He's got 22 goals now, I'm pretty sure, unless he has a little bit more, unless he scored. But
No, I feel like goal scoring is up this year.
oh, well.
Big time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we can touch on that at the end of the podcast because I have some thoughts about that. But Tampa Bay's offensive production is just ridiculous, man. Unbelievable.
See, don't sleep on Boston. That's all
Well,
I'm
that's
gonna
another
say,
team.
because
They're another top
they have
team.
like
I would probably say
they're filled with injuries right now.
yeah. And another thing with them that's kind of surprising. I don't want to say surprising, but another strength that they have. One, their power play is ridiculous, filthy. Pasternak, Marchand, filthy.
Bergeron just came
Finally
back.
got Bergeron back. I think he scored twice in the game that he came back.
He did.
He's filthy. So when they're at their top, they got a really good all around team. That goes all the way down to the goaltending because
They've actually been getting good goaltending this year.
they've been rotating that Halak and
Rask.
and they've actually been playing great. Minus that really just terrible play that Halak had the other day, where he just gave the puck pretty much for a goal. But they're another team that's depth wise, they're definitely behind Tampa Bay. I mean, third you could put Toronto there only because of their offensive production.
Yeah.
They still don't, like we said, I mean, they don't impress me in terms of defensive play.
Like Morgan
Anderson's been pretty
Riley's
good,
been
though.
pretty good.
Anderson's been really good. Been good for them as
He's
well.
been really good.
I mean, besides Morgan Riley, because the guy has like 40-something points already.
Yeah,
As a
ridiculous.
defenseman. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I love how he went on that insane point, like
He's
producing.
got like close to 45 points already. He had 40.
He went on that like insane span where he had a lot of points in a little amount of games, and then of course he slowed down, and I'm just like, yeah, kind of saw that coming. Not to be arrogant, but I saw that coming.
Yeah.
All right. Another team that surprised me out of these, Buffalo.
Buffalo's been probably.
Dude, Hutton has been playing good. They got Dahlin playing with Ristolainen.
Eichel's been sniping.
Skinner has been unreal.
Yeah. I forget how many points Jeff Skinner has, but he's up there right now.
Dude, that O'Reilly trade helped him out. Not to say, and O'Reilly's been producing a lot of points in St. Louis, but that trade helped him out.
Yeah.
And last but not, you know what? I'll do two more teams. Columbus is another one.
Yeah. And we were just saying like before.
I really like that team.
It's funny with Columbus because in a way they kind of remind me of the Rangers in the fact that obviously they have their superstar players and like Panarin on offense, but the rest of their team, Atkinson could be another guy that's pretty up there.
No, he's actually been playing really well lately.
He had a great season last year too. But the rest of them, I mean, like they have their great defensive players, but they're just like a hard, grinded out type of team. They have Bobrovsky in net.
Well, that's what you get with Tortorella.
Yeah, that's his style, exactly. That's why I wanted to bring up the Rangers. They kind of remind me of them in a way. I don't know if you get that same vibe, but they skate hard. Well, old Rangers, I meant to say, not current Rangers. But I don't know. They got their team. I saw an article, got me excited, talking about Rangers top, who knows, it's probably all just BS rumors, but they said Panarin's in the top running. Rangers are in the top running for Panarin.
Apparently.
But that would be pretty sick to see him come over.
Speaking of rumors about coming to New York, I saw something about Erik Karlsson, and I'm just like, I'm not going to believe it until I see a contract signed. Because there's no way in hell he's taking a massive discount.
Yeah, who knows?
No way in hell.
No. And
especially after Doughty's extension.
It's the same thing as you also don't know what's going to happen with San Jose. Because, especially with that division, it's just all around, man. It's so, like, it's got to be close in points between all those teams. Because I don't know what it is right now. He's going to look it up. But
I'm looking at it. Calgary is in front with 50. Vegas is third, 48. San Jose second, 49. Anaheim, 44. Vancouver, 42.
It's close. You never know what could happen in that division, man.
What? The Kings are just terrible.
Yeah, good. Want them to suffer.
Yeah, seriously. They won the cup in 2014, then missed the playoffs for 3 straight years, right?
Yeah,
Or
that's the
2 or
risk.
3?
That's the
was
risk
just
you
like-
take when you go on those Stanley Cup victories like they had, man.
Yeah, but
Same
at
thing we
least
were
they
talking
can
about.
look back and say, all right, we won 2 cups in 3 years.
That's the thing.
All right, and just going to move on. Last but not least, out of the East, Montreal has actually been, they're in a playoff spot right now, which I did not see. And Shea Weber, when he came back, he's been playing out of his mind.
That's what,
And
that's actually a
Price
good team that you
Price really isn't playing that well. That's the surprising part.
Yeah, they're getting offensive production though from Domi. He's been good this season.
Domi's
from
been
what I've
really
seen.
good.
Who
Who was the other guy I just thought of?
how do you
This
say
is
his
gonna
name?
piss- Which one?
Kotkaniemi or something like
Oh,
that. Kotkaniemi or
Yeah,
how do you
Kokaniemi or something.
Yeah, him.
He's been playing really well. There's another guy who I can't think of off the top of my head, but he's also been playing really well. Oh, Kachuk.
Kachuk. Yep. They got another impressive team. Surprisingly,
No,
actually,
they got some good young guys. All right, let's move on to the West. Winnipeg, that's definitely one of the top teams for me.
For sure.
The only
best
thing,
all-around team in the West, probably besides Nashville.
no, I would say Nashville, when
You
they're
think so?
fully healthy, is the best all-around team.
Yeah, that's true.
The only thing that's worrying me about Winnipeg is their center. Their center's behind Scheifele
You don't think
a
they're
little bit
strong?
right now. Well, Little Roslovic has been okay, and then I don't remember who their 4th-line center is, but I'd rather have Little.
Surprisingly, I think the team with the best centers, honestly, in the West might be Anaheim. They have pretty good centers.
Getzlav, Raquel, Kessler.
They got a pretty good. I mean, granted, those guys, Kessler was injured. I know Getzlav was injured for a little bit. But you know what though? They're solid. Those guys, they're solid, big players in the center. So, yeah, but
I love how outside of the 6 teams in playoff position in the West right now, the rest of the West has just been a huge disappointment.
well, speaking of
Because you got
offensive
teams like
production,
Chicago, St. Louis, and Los Angeles.
speaking of offensive production from teams from the West, another team that's got to be up there is Colorado.
Colorado.
They're
a
I
little
mean, Rantanen leads.
one-line-driven team, but yes.
Rantanen leads the
They've been
league
pretty
right
good.
now in points. He has like almost 60 points already this season.
No.
He's on a rant. Is he a rookie as well?
No.
No, he's not. Oh, okay, I thought he was a rookie. Yeah, he's next level, man. And you know what?
That was-
And speaking of rookies,
No, he's on fire.
I actually saw a pretty great stat in the Toronto game that unfortunately I forgot my notes on the Toronto game, but it was actually Brett Howden, and they were breaking him down, comparing him to the rest of the rookies in the NHL. It was like time on ice, assists. I forget the other 2 categories, but he was actually like in the top 5 amongst rookies. I thought that was kind of interesting. Although I feel like
Yeah,
his
Howden's been playing good this season for a
the
rookie.
last couple games he's kind of slowed down. You haven't seen him
You gotta remember,
as much.
I'm pretty sure
offensive
he's still
production.
19.
Yeah.
Either that or 20.
You haven't seen as much production, only because guys like Kreider and Zibanejad have really, and Hayes have stole the show, I would say, really from the rest of the team. But who else from the West?
Well, we brought it
like?
up before a few minutes ago. Vegas has been sneakily good.
Yep. And they were another team, like he's earlier in the season, started off flat, had their injuries with Stasny and Pacioretty, and now they're back.
Yeah, and San Jose was another team who started out slow, but they finally look like they're somewhat starting to get it together.
They're getting
Calgary, though, they've been on a
Dangerous.
tear lately.
very dangerous team coming out of the West this year. The only thing that's interesting with them is goaltending. Just Smith, right? Who's their backup goalie? Smith is their starter, right?
I don't even remember.
I think he might be. Yeah.
Rittich, that guy Rittich has been playing all right.
They got
But Goudreau and Monahan have been going off.
yeah. Gaudreau is filthy.
Especially Goudreau.
We were
Just been
saying
going
Johnny Gaudreau.
off.
If I misheard it, I'm pretty sure that was his 4th hat trick of the year the other day.
ridiculous. And well, that was pretty much 5 teams right there. But let's not count out Nashville, even though they've lost 6 in a row. Honorable mention. Right now, honorable mention.
I mean, yeah.
Because they're struggling
sure.
to score.
But
the
if we're
power
talking
play is
about
struggling.
if we're talking about just looking at their team on paper,
And
they
I also-
have a
Turris,
very
Turris is injured, so their center depth takes a hit with
they
that.
have a big They obviously have just a very well-rounded team. Easily the best
And also
defensive
Forsberg
core.
was out too.
Yeah, and also, like I
Sissons.
said, Arvidsson and Subban were out for 20 games each, and they just came back in the same game.
Yeah, and Forsberg might be out a while, so that's why.
He's filthy for them. I mean, like you said, though, definitely easily the best offensive production from a defense, for sure. And you know what? And that was another stat I had seen, and it was actually mentioning that the Rangers actually have been getting a decent amount of offensive production as well from their defense.
Which is surprising.
That's what I
this
said.
Season.
I was like, that was very surprising to me when I saw that stat.
Especially because like Shattenkirk hasn't been playing well. Pionk
has probably
he's been putting up points here and there.
That's
D'Angelo has been. I mean, I like the way he's played, but for whatever reason, he's not getting playing time.
And don't forget the GOAT himself, 3 goals on the season.
The GOAT, Mark Stoll. That is GOAT. MARC.
Let's not give let's give him credit because he's been putting the pucks on net.
Smith has been this season.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh, Mark Stahl has actually been. I really like the way he's played.
I think the Rangers got one from Smith. They want him to play physical. I think that's honestly one of the reasons they signed. They liked the way that he played during that playoffs. Yeah. He was very physical.
He earned that contract, and then
he just hasn't played. Exactly, he hasn't played up to par.
And then Shea has been better lately.
Yeah, Shea has definitely been better defensively.
And Claeson's been all right when he's
been
in the
and they were mentioning one thing with Shea that I liked. I think he's starting to get a little bit more confidence carrying the puck again because
especially after like the last 2 games.
He had a great play the other night. It was just great break out of the zone. You don't realize how important those are, breaking out of the zone. That's one thing I noticed now with teams, especially in that Nashville game last night with the Rangers, that the Rangers' power play has a lot of trouble getting into the zone.
Especially against Nashville because they're a team that likes to stand up at the line.
They're very
they like to stand up at the line.
Yeah, they're definitely that's the Rangers' problem. They don't have that one guy that you really can carry the puck in the zone, especially in that you need to have the quickness to carry that puck. And maybe Kreider could do it, but they just don't have a guy that is so filthy with the hands that he can kind of just walk in the zone and then establish himself.
Yeah, true.
Like when I imagine that type of setup, I imagine just thinking about, okay, what if it was Patty Kane coming in? He's going to skate right in, stick handle, and then establish himself. And guys are going to fear him because they're going to fear his stick handling ability. No,
because. Well, Kane is a guy that you need to have double teamed, so somebody's going to get left open.
Exactly. That's one thing I like to see, better zone entries by the Rangers, because sometimes that's one thing that we lack for sure. But another thing that we were talking about, and want to bring it up as we're coming to the end here, but I definitely want to mention the goal. We were talking about that Tampa game, 6-5. Just the amount of goals this season has definitely gone up, and we were talking about the goalies. I mean, I don't really know if I like the direction that they're going with the lessening the goalie equipment. I mean,
I don't think that's the greatest.
I don't
idea.
think that's a good idea, only because
scoring was up a little bit.
Scoring was up, and now it's going up. Now it's just insane. Most of the games now, dude. I mean, you're looking at 5 goals now between the teams. Most of the time, I see the scores. It's definitely gone up for sure. And and the thing is like it. I think they're trying to make it more entertaining for those people that aren't already into hockey, because you know what? Like for me, watching
do that, you got to change some rules.
Watching a 6-5 game is great, but in the end of the day, when you look at it and analyze it, 6-5, like that's bad defense, man. 6-5. I don't know if I'd rather watch a 6-5 game or watch a 2-1 close game back and forth. And then team scores on, great play or something like that. Like, I almost would rather watch that personally than a blowout game, because it gets a little, like, then it's just sloppy. Like, it's entertaining hockey, but it's not, like, good hockey.
Yeah,
I mean?
It's either a combination. It's either bad defense, bad goaltending, or a combination of both.
But an interesting fact, and you would have to look it up and double check, but, I mean, I don't know exactly what Bobrovsky was saying in this interview, but they were asking him, and he was saying, like, listen, man, like this equipment lessening thing is starting to freaking hurt the goalies pretty much.
Yeah, I saw something
because
about
what his point was, he was making a point like up on the arm area where they had lessened the equipment, I think, like near the armpit area, I guess, like by the elbow, I'm assuming, like somewhere around
yeah,
that area.
I think I know exactly.
And he was
what
saying
you're
that
referring to.
they had lessened up the padding there. It's a little bit, but for these guys, it's
when the
his
shots are coming in at 100 miles an hour.
His point was what it does is instead of that equipment being off me a little bit, and the fact that it's not so skin tight on him, he was saying, if somebody takes a slap shot and it hits me, but it's not super tight on me, I'm not going to feel it as much. But now he's saying, like, if he gets hit there with a slap shot, like, the equipment is so tight on his arm now because it's so much slimmer that when he gets hit with that puck, like, he's having black and blues on his arm.
Oh, I believe it.
Because it's, these guys are shooting the puck, and they're only shooting the puck harder. These kids are like 18 years old, man.
Like with the sticks these
technology
days and all
with
that.
the sticks, all these kids that are 18 are stronger than ever. It's only going to get worse. I don't like the fact that it puts the goalies in risk just to up the scoring. Like, I think they're going a little bit too hard with the trying to up the scoring now. Like, it's going to, like, I don't know, like, if you want to up the scoring, like, I don't think you need to fix the goaltender's equipment. Like, that's just absurd. I think they're thinking, like, okay, yeah, well, look at the 1980s and 70s when the goalies barely had any equipment on, you know what I mean? But, like,
scoring was just out of control.
Like, for me, I think it's more entertaining watching these goalies play, like, great games. Like, I don't want to see anybody get hurt.
Neither do I.
So I don't agree. I don't really agree with the lessening of the equipment for the goalies.
It's called learn how to score better.
Yeah. I mean, and just think about it, like, these goalies are great athletes. They're training constantly.
They're in the NHL for a reason.
Exactly. Like, if anything, it's more of a challenge for the forwards to score on them.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of don't make it easier for them to score on. Like, they should work harder to have to score on these goalies. I don't think that they need to lessen the equipment. That's just my opinion. But, like, for me, I don't really give two shits whether or not the scoring goes up a goal.
Yeah, neither do I.
I don't care about that stuff, man. Like, that's the last thing. You think I want to see the Rangers give up more than 4 goals in a game?
No.
Well, they already do sometimes. Like, I don't want to see any more than that. That's just, like, brutal, especially when Lundqvist is in net. You're like, oh, this again. Christ. It's going to lessen up his numbers, and everybody's going to talk smack. But
yeah, I know. Oh, speaking of talking smack, real quick, right before we end, there was a thread on either Facebook or Twitter. Somebody screenshotted it. I saw it in a Facebook group. Like, somebody said Rene's light years ahead of Lundqvist right now. And I'm just like, well, you're obviously not paying attention to either team. Really, you're really not. Because if Lundqvist was on Nashville right now, they'd be first in the West, hands down.
Yeah. Well,
that's arguably right up there with Tampa.
That's always an interesting argument that people make, Lundqvist. Like, you got to realize
like if
these
Lundqvist
goalies
had Nashville's defensive core in front of him, he wouldn't be dealing with half the shit that he deals with.
Definitely. For sure, especially
'cause,
bad plays in front, all this nonsense. I mean, the only thing that you could really say that I'll give, like, okay, I can almost agree with that is that, back in 2014, our defense was pretty solid. We had a decently solid defensive core. I mean, it's not nowhere near Nashville's.
True.
But, fans, man, you know how they always are. They're always biased towards their own team. They don't want to give credit where it's due.
Very true.
So.
Even though I try to. I try to give credit where it's due. But not the Rangers defense this year. We're just terrible. So I'm not.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, exactly. We're not giving any credit.
We're not stupid. We're not stupid. All right. So we got one more game left in 2018, New Year's Eve against St. Louis.
We'll end on this game, and we're really hoping that we can end the year here with our second road regulation win. It should be a road regulation win.
Because it's St. Louis, who's been playing awful this season.
So we're going to...
Even though they have a good team on paper.
We're going to go and say that we want the Rangers to win this game. Let's give
them to.
Let's give a prediction for what do you think the score is going to be in this one. Give a prediction.
I'll go 5-2.
5-2 St. Louis. I'm kidding.
No, 5-2 Rangers.
All right, I'm going
because you know how bad St. Louis is.
Well, I would have said Georgiev would play, but they're playing Lundqvist tomorrow. But
get them the wins.
Definitely. I'm going 3-0. Lundqvist gets a 27 game save shutout.
27 game shutout. That's
27 game shutout.
All right, and last but not least, are you going to watch the Winter Classic? Because I don't think anybody cares because it's Chicago again.
Well, if I'm a Chicago fan, I'm certainly not looking forward to it. A, because they're just terrible in Winter Classic outdoor games, and also their season
kind of.
just is irrelevant at this point. So
Pretty much. They are 15, 20, and 6.
I mean, Boston, if you're a Boston fan, I'm looking forward to them trying to destroy Chicago. But
I mean,
for
hey,
Boston
look,
to win matters.
it's a terrible Chicago team versus a
The
injury-riddled
only thing I could see is
Bruins
that, like,
team.
listen, hey, maybe Chicago's want to play spoiler, but we'll see. I mean,
It
Winter
has
Classic.
happened before in the
Winter Classic is always fun to watch either way, so I'll probably tune into it. Not that
unless we're playing roller hockey in our own Winter Classic,
JHL.
which is a strong possibility.
But we'll see. We'll see if we watch it. But well, hopefully we come back next year. And the Rangers
Next week / next year.
Next year
/ last week. Next week.
But we're hoping the Rangers can end the year with a win. And
Well, I mean, we do play the Penguins on the 2nd and then the Avalanche on the 4th. So, yeah, we got some challenging games ahead. Even though I still don't think Pittsburgh has that good of a team this year.
I'm sure our next podcast will probably be summary of those games.
Which hopefully it's next week.
Winter Classic. But we should be on point this year with the podcast. So
Yeah, New Year's resolution.
New Year's
be more consistent with the podcast. All right, well, that's our last episode of 2018, 3rd episode ever.
Happy New Year.
Ending on a good number. Ending on a very good number. 3 is a good number. Happy New Year indeed. What else?
That's all I got.
Dad, would you like to input anything?
Please talk about
Hockey.
Rangers.
Gila coming out of retirement.
The announcement was made here. That's it.
Gila is coming out of retirement. For those of you who do not know, my dad used to be a hardcore Montreal Canadiens fan.
You heard?
Gila was my favorite player.
Gila was his favorite player.
Mark the words here.
If I didn't bring the Rangers to his number 1, they're definitely number 2 now. Let's just say that. All right, and with that, follow us on Twitter at, once again, Backup Blue Pod.
Impressive, you finally remembered. Beautiful.
I did remember. I'm gonna keep. You know what? Follow us on Instagram too. Even though I gotta look up what our Instagram is. Pretty sure it's the same thing as Backup Blue Pod. We also have a Facebook page. If you wanna look at that. That's just going to be an update page, really. That's also Backup Blue Pod.
Backup Blue Pod, baby.
It's a good name. Oh, what the heck's going on? What? My phone won't let me switch Instagram accounts now to the other one. That's so stupid.
Either way, follow us on Twitter.
Yeah,
it's probably
Twitter. That's the more importantly one.
All right.
That's the more important one.
Take it easy, guys.
Happy New Year. Enjoy the New Year. Be safe. Don't be stupid. And if you are going to be stupid, make sure it's inside and not outside. Thanks for listening. Talk to you next week. See you later.
Oh, next year.
Oh, next year. See you next year / next week. Bye.